Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Ganja Geezer. It's been a while since I've posted. I've kind of been putting this one off because I anticipate my opinion on driving in cannabis is not going to be very popular. Feel free to express your opinions constructively in the comments down below, and if you don't like what I said, you can click the thumbs down, but if you do, please tell me why. Driving in cannabis. What got me started thinking about this subject was doing research on the Amendment 64, Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol amendment here in Colorado, and the I-502 proposition in Washington State. And a lot of people that are pro-cannabis and legalization are not voting yes, especially in Washington, because that provision explicitly states that they're going to instill a 5 nanogram per milliliter blood THC content driving limit in that initiative. And a lot of people are up in arms about that, saying that that's too low. Now, detractors say there is not a study showing that the 5 nanogram limit is a legitimate value, and sober people can have a higher, I'm going to call it BTC, blood THC concentration than 5 nanograms and not be impaired. But they have no studies to back that up. Now, on the NORML site, NORML is the NORML is the National Organization for the Reformation of Marijuana Laws. They've been around for 40 years, over 40 years in this country. They've compiled a bunch of articles of studies done in Germany, the UK, that show that 5 nanograms is a legitimate level for impairment for the common average user of cannabis. I'm providing links to the NORML site showing where they discuss the idea of the link between accident culpability and cannabis using, and really the NORML assessment of reading and studying the articles is that the link is inconclusive relative to alcohol. It is not possible to exclude the possibility that the use of cannabis with or without alcohol led to an increased risk of road traffic crashes. That's a direct quote from one of the articles. And again, of course, they'll all be in the description down below, the links to this information. Now, and 5 nanograms, how soon do these studies show that 5 nanograms, you get to that level in your bloodstream? Now, the studies show, fairly small studies, of course, so I do agree that more information is needed going forward, but small studies show that a limit is reached and dropped below that threshold between 60 and 90 minutes for the average common user, casual user. Now, this isn't the person that's smoking 3 times a day. And this is for smoking, and I would bet vaporization would be very similar, if not exactly the same. But within an hour and a half to 2 hours, you should be below that 5 nanogram limit per mil in bloodstream. Remember that we're talking about the blood content here. No information that I could find provided information on ingesting of cannabis edibles, such as I do. But I'm sure you're looking at 4 to 6 hours for the fact that it takes 2 to 2.5 hours for it to actually get to peak level in your bloodstream in the first place. And it lasts, you have a longer duration because it's being digested slower than just being ingested in your lungs. So, get to the point. What's my problem here? If I see one more comment on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, or anywhere else on cannabis-related information that I drive better when I'm high than when I'm sober, I'm going to puke. This is what caused me to want to make this article, this video. You don't. It's simple as that. There may be a very small percentage of heavy users that are perfectly capable of driving, but they are in the small minority. I know for myself, when I am fully medicated, high, whatever you want to call it, there is no way I should be behind the wheel of a car, and I never will be. And neither should you. Let's put it this way. Alcohol. We're all okay with, in Colorado, you have a 0.08% alcohol per milliliter in your bloodstream. Blood alcohol content. We're all familiar with that. And for some reason, we're okay with that. And there's some studies showing that that's an impairment level. But again, There are people, I'm sure, that are heavy alcohol consumers that are perfectly sober at 0.08 when they blow a 0.08, but they're still going to go to jail. They're still going to have a legal issue. And here in Colorado, we also, if you're at 0.05, between 0.05 and 0.08, it's called driving while ability impaired. So an even lower threshold is here, and I'm not sure what other states are, but I'm sure there's other states like that. So I guarantee you there are people that are perfectly capable of driving at 0.05, but they will still be busted for driving impaired. So let's go back to marijuana here. 5 nanograms, that's just horrible. It's horribly restrictive, according to some people. And I can feel for the true medical cannabis patients that are actually need to consume it multiple times a day. But again, there are things you have to deal with in life, that if you are going to consume a drug, a plant, or whatever that causes you to be fuzzy in thinking, to be less attentive, to maybe be easily distractible, you should not be operating a motor vehicle. You are infringing upon mine and other people's rights when you get on the road and you're not at your best. And this doesn't include marijuana, this includes alcohol, this includes texting, being on the cell phone. Anything that distracts you from driving should be illegal. Also, be damned thankful you're not in a state where there is a zero tolerance for THC. There's 11 or 12 of them right now, and we're talking about some of them where it's urinalysis, which can stay in your system for a month. So you, in a state such as Arizona, I'm pretty sure it's Arizona, I'll have a link to all the states, and there's a table of all the different states with per se limits to currently have per se limits to THC and driving. But I think it's Arizona says that you pee a test and you can come up in anything, zero tolerance. You come up having smoked marijuana 2 weeks ago, they will prosecute you. So 5 nanograms starting to sound pretty good to me. Now, does that mean it should be fixed in stone for the rest of our lives and for the rest of, American history? No. I mean, further studies need to be done to maybe tweak that either up or down. So in the case of a heavily medicated medical cannabis user, what are they to do? Well, you can't drive under the influence, period. I'm sorry, but those are the breaks. Here in Colorado, we have very good public transit, so your options of taking the bus or light rail or a ride with a friend, that's what you're going to have to do if you must consume cannabis multiple times a day, because you will test positive. That's just a simple fact of life. It'd be the same if you drank alcohol 3 times a day. You're not going to have a very good window where you're sober. Now, for the heavy recreational users, the ones that seem to be the most vociferous in their complaints about a 5 nanogram limit, I've got some suggestions for you. If you can't reduce your consumption to once a day or, waiting 2 to 4 hours after smoking, a little common sense would be in order. Well, we all know you can drive better high than when you're sober, so the cops shouldn't pull you over for any reason whatsoever because you're behaving perfectly well on the roads. But here's 4 points to help you in case they do. Let's say you roll a stop sign, you were on a cell phone or something, you did something, you made a mistake. Number 1, don't put pot leaf bumper stickers or cannabis-related commentary on the bumper of your car. That's just a bullseye in your forehead. You're a moron if you do that, and I would laugh heartily if I saw you got busted. 2, don't smoke in your car. That goes along with don't drive medicated. Don't hotbox. That's the term for smoking in your car with the windows rolled up. Have cannabis or paraphernalia in your car. That's number 2. 3, keep your car clean and well maintained. You reduce your risk of being pulled over for stupid things like a dragging muffler. Saw that a couple weeks ago. That's always good. Or a broken taillight. But police will pull you over for that, and if you reek of weed, they probably are going to bust you. Now that leads me to number 4. Don't reek of weed. Make sure you are showered and in fresh clothes when you go out. Brush your teeth. And don't keep it in the car. And if you don't smell like it and you just have a minor traffic infraction, the worst you're probably going to end up with is a ticket or an appearance in court for a moving violation. And of course, if you're a truly better driver when high, then it shouldn't get pulled over using these tips. And now I'm in full curmudgeon mode, and for all you YouTube channels promoting hotboxing, you know who you are, or getting high and driving, please just stop it. It's irresponsible. It's stupid frat boy behavior. You do a great disservice to responsible cannabis users by behaving that way. All right, that's it for now. Next video will probably be a shopping video. I've picked up some stuff. I'd like to talk about that in a review. For the negative comments that I expect, not in my huge following, but please leave constructive criticism. I do want to know your argument as to why you think you have the right to drive while high. Until then, the next time, goodbye and stay medicated.